Hello everybody! Welcome to today's live stream. Today we have a very special stream for you guys because we get to talk about the latest update that Notion has come up with, Better Databases, which released around, I think just a few days ago. And I'm so excited because we have an opportunity to share with you exactly how we're going to use it inside the CoX3 toolbox, how we're going to make the use of this amazing features, right? Including quick filters and all that, but also to give you a live demonstration of how to build with this and the philosophy in which we will go around and build our system with these new tooling, because I think it's always so important to learn how others are doing it so you can figure out how to do it for yourself as well. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. So, let me make sure that my camera is capturing. Let's see what's going on here. Perfect. There we go. Okay, awesome. So what we want to talk about is can we build better databases with Notion's Better Databases massive update. So the first idea, as I go into any of these live streams, is to talk about why, what, and how, right? Why are we doing this? What are we trying to achieve and how we're going to get there? Well, why is that we want to constantly improve our experience of using Notion and their extended features. And what we're going to do today is a live demonstration of how to use better databases. And first, I want to explain to you, based on their own updates page, Notion's own update page, what is better databases in their eyes. And I'm going to explain a bit about how I'm going to use each specific category in a novel way that you probably haven't seen before. So first of all, let's talk about quick filters. So quick filters is that you can, instead of having filters previously was on the right hand side and you had to, on the filters, and then it pops up, a little pop-up and doing all that. Now we have your filters pop up here, which makes it really easy for you to do two things. The first thing is that you can get to your filters within 1 to 2 clicks. But the second thing, and most important thing, I think, for collaborative workspaces is that you can have your own view of a specific database and someone else in your team can have their own view. So you don't have to create duplicate dashboards for everybody. You can have one master dashboard, which has everybody's own personalized filters or views, and they can see what they want to see on that specific page. So you can say that, hey, I can create one section of dashboards specifically for this type of user, and everyone within this type of user can also use that dashboard and see their own content instead of having to see everyone else's as well. So I think that's pretty cool. So we also have the opportunity to create views from existing databases. I really like this because this means that in one view, so for example, I want to solve one specific problem on this page. Let's say I want to specifically, look at all my wins for the week, and also I want to see all my wins for the day, and I also want to see all the daily quests that I've done for the day and the week. All this information can be in one view, meaning that the different tabs on the view, and I can specifically target which data source each view is going to have, so that one view doesn't only have to be from one database. I can have multiple databases, which I can then link this view to. So very awesome stuff. We're going to show you how we're going to use that as well. So we can also see that we can copy existing views easily. So I think that's something that we really like, because then we can instantly, duplicate a existing view that we already have, so that we already have that information set up. So we can have these master views in which we can always refer to, and we can label them as such. And when we want to refer them in any specific view later on in any screen, I can just click and select that. So I think that's also very cool as well. That feature, I'm talking to Notion right now because it's not specifically working the way I want it to. I'm going to explain to you why when we get in, but keep in mind that there are still some improvements they can do here. So everything that we talk about today, hopefully will continuously get improved as we give more feedback to Notion themselves. Hey everybody in the chat, good to see you. I hope you guys engage a bit as well. Let me know what questions you have as we go through this, because this is going to be a really cool presentation to show you exactly what to do with all these brand new toolings and this update. So cool. All right, and the last thing I think here is the streamlined design. Again, as you guys may have used Notion before, you guys know that previously you had a drop down to select a different view, and you wouldn't be able to see all the views available for each specific view at the time. So that's be able to do. And of course, you can also hide any database names, which I think is amazing, because the database names kind of look really ugly when you're inside a view and you're just seeing like that big chunk of text that says, success plan or whatever it might be. It's better to just hide that for now, because then you can see exactly what you're trying to reference instead of the database you're trying to reference. So I think that's super cool. All right, that's me explaining what is going to go on in today's live stream. Let me recap exactly what we're going to build today. We're going to show you how to use multiple databases for one view and do it in a way that I think makes a lot of sense. We're going to use sync blocks to manage views across different dashboards. Again, while the Notion implementation isn't perfect yet, I want to show you how you can use sync blocks to make the same view propagate across different dashboards if you need to. And then finally, we show you how views for me versus views for you on the same dashboard, which is basically how do you build better collaborative dashboards. Let's get straight into it. So we're going to bring up our systems for a better life. Again, this is our master. So we're going to build on this, and anyone who's currently subscribed to our templates will get the new updates coming in Q2 2022. So stay stoked. If you feel like you got lost at any time during this tutorial, don't sweat. We're going to help you get it by just depositing it into your own system when the time comes. So don't be afraid. So the first thing I'm going to do is I want to show you, how might you connect different databases to the same space, the same view. So we're going to go into the alignment dashboard, which is a dashboard I really like because it gives us the opportunity to align ourselves, right? And we have here, for example, our areas, our values, our areas of competence and focus, and our sub areas. So you can see that already everything has areas of competence here. So what we're going to do, first of all, to show you is that we can remove the areas of competence. We can remove the show database title, and it removes that. Pretty simple, right? And you can see that instead of showing the areas of competence, because sometimes the values, which is also in the areas of competence, directory or database, also may have their own specific thing that I'm looking at, which is values in this case, right? So it doesn't make sense to always show areas of competence instead. So I like that. We're going to hide this, and then we're going to hide this, and then we're going to hide this. So quite simple, right? You can just hide things, and you can already see that things are hidden as it will be. But the really cool thing, I think, is the opportunity to connect everything together. So for example, I'm actually going to do something that I really like that I did for my own personal dashboards, and I wanted to share this improvement with you guys as well. So what I'm going to do is inside this view, I'm also going to add one for inbox, because we have an inbox database, right, that currently has a lot of information coming in from your different, from the different times when you have just like a small idea that comes out, you want to write it down and you want to put it somewhere. This is what the inbox folder is. So let's do a mailbox here, and then we're going to show you how that kind of looks like. And I'm going to show you how I would do it in the past and also how I'm going to do it now, because I think it's very, very cool to show you the side-by-side comparison. So the first thing is I'm just going to go to the success plan database, and I'm just going to use that to get to my components. My components will get me into my inbox, and then in my inbox, I actually have a really cool, database which shows everything I need to show, right? So let's say I copy and sync this. Again, this is how I'm going to use the, actually, I'm going to start from scratch just so that you can see exactly what I do, okay? So how I start is I like to have a sync block. So I like to have a structure where I have a components page, which has all the different backend databases that I need to use within my system. Inside that backend database, for example, in the inbox, I'll create a sync block and make sure I have an original sync block. And then I'll put a view of that specific database in there, a view, for example, for daily driver. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure I copy this and I can paste it in. Okay, and then what we have is that we have a view here, which is an original, and I can copy and sync it and put it anywhere. So let me show you what that means for me, right? If I copy and sync and I paste it here with Control or Command V, depending on which kind of operating system do you have, I have this view here. And let's say I make a change to this view. Let's say I make this view, remove the database title. Then instantly here, I also lost the database title here as well. So I think that's super, super cool, right? And then what we have the opportunity to do is we can rename this, right? So we can say this is our personal inbox, right? And what we can do is we can actually, connect other database to this, because right now the way I'm doing it is that you can see each database or each view has its own specific connection to one database only, right? So for example, this is success plan. For example, this is inbox, success plan, and so on and so forth. But what if I want to see information across different databases? What if, for example, I might want to see my recent wins today together with my reflections, right? Or together my personal inbox together with some other note-taking database I might have. So for instance, what I have in my own system is I would also include my events here, right? So any of my events are synced with my Google Calendar will all deposit here, so I can drag and drop this wherever I want to connect things as I need to. So that's also pretty cool. Let me show you an example of how I would connect. And again, you see all these are synced blocks, right? So let me show you an example of how I would connect something like the review cycles together with this, because I think that's quite cool. So we have review cycles here. Oops, I probably want to go for my weekly review. Let's go for weekly review. And then we have this view here, which you can create a new weekly review. That's pretty cool, right? So let me show you how that might work. So the first thing I do to make it really easy, and I'll show you the before and after, right? So let's say I want to add a new view here. So I'm going to go ahead and add a new view, and I can find a source in here. You can see I can find a source, but you can see all the source, it immediately detects I want weekly review because I have weekly review open and I copied that view as well. So I can actually go ahead and find a source for weekly review just like that, right? And then I can go ahead and use this, right? Because this automatically already pulls everything in, and I don't want everything. I just want specific things, right? I want to only see, for example, date. I want to see my mood. I want to see my sleep, my output, and my word cloud. Those are pretty much the things I want to see. So what we're going to do is we're going to go here. We're going to go properties. And again, this is all brand new as well, right? But we have date, we have sleep, and then we have word cloud, just like that. And then we have mood as well. And then everything else we can hide. So we can just hide conversations, daily quest, mistakes, months, whatever. And we have something quite nice, right? So date before mood, just like that. And you can see that in here, we have weekly review and we have our recent win success. So I want you to always think about, this in a way of functionality. What does this one block of information show me in my databases, and what should it show me? So one of the biggest things that I think you guys can think about when you're building this is, well, exactly like what functionality do I want to solve right here in this section? In this section, I want to see everything related to my life, whereas goals, key results, projects, quests, right? But do I also want to include areas, values, and and areas in focus inside here as well? Well, maybe, right? So you got to really think about what's your specific use case and how you're going to tie in everything together. And another cool example for you would be that if I wanted to see, for example, like my knowledge hub might be more than just my books that I'm reading. It might be, things that I'm doing research on. Maybe research will be a different database that you have. Now you can finally put the research database and your knowledge database together, which I think is a super, super cool way of using it, right? So without further ado, I think I'm just going to stop there for that specific use case. If you have more questions about that, ask me in chat because I really want to help you. But that's how I would use multiple databases for one view and sync blocks to manage views across different dashboards for our specific templates. And I'm going to spend some time to build that later on. But first, I want to move on to show you how I would use views for me versus views for you on the same dashboard. So to illustrate this, let's go into let's say I go into my Make Life Simple page, right? Or my daily planning page. I think daily planning is really cool. So daily planning, basically, if you're not familiar, is the dashboard I use to spend 30 minutes on every single day to plan out my day properly. And the way I do that is I see all the goals that I have in focus. I see all the key results I have in focus, right? And then I see all the tasks I might want to do, the projects that are going to be focused on, all that jazz. And I'm going to show you exactly how I'm going to improve this based on what's included for us in the Better Databases feature, because I think there's quite a lot that can be improved here. Okay, so the first thing I want to share with you is views versus me versus view versus you. Again, if you're the only person that is inside this one dashboard, no problem. You should have everything custom to yourself and nothing needs to change. But for example, let's say for goals and focus, you want to see goals and focus that only include yourself. I'm going to add a view, add a rule for here, for example, right? And then I'm going to add a rule that says, and we're going to say collaborators contains, let's say, myself here. I'm just going to put this instead of the relative me, just to show you what I'm going to be doing. And then we're going to say collaborators, and I'm going to show relative me as well right here. And the thing is that it asks you, do you want to save for everyone? Because if someone else comes on this dashboard, they don't have to see the exact same thing you see. They can go in and they can set their own collaborators to themselves, and they'll see their own exact use case in their scenario. I think that's beautiful because everyone actually has a different way of seeing their content, and this makes it super easy for people to see what they want to see and what they need to see without creating 20 or so dashboards to do the same thing. And just to let you know, that's something that we had to do in our organization and within Coix3 and also within other workspaces that I worked with as well, is that everybody has their own dashboard because everybody wants to see their own unique thing. And I'm saying that this can be improved so that we can standardize the experience for people who might be sharing a workspace. I think that's a very important part of the experience. Okay, so first I'm not going to save this for everyone, but you can also save this as a new view as well, and let's show you how that looks. So a new view will look like this, and then now you have a new view for that person specifically as well. I think that's pretty cool. So what we're going to do here now is we're going to rename this. Actually, we're going to say key results in focus, and I'm going to show you exactly like how I'm going to do a massive overhaul of this daily planning dashboard based on what I've learned from this update. And I want to show you guys the innovation and ingenuity that you can put in when you try to create something creative. And I think it's really, really cool. Okay, so my first process in thinking about this is like, okay, what do I want to accomplish in this dashboard and how can I get there faster, right? It's all about speed and efficiency. How do I get to my results as fast as I can? So in this dashboard, I want to quickly see my areas so I can know what's in focus perhaps and what's not, and what are the values I have and what's the, the things I'm going to focus on as a general North Star in my life, right? And then I'm going to look at my today's focus and I say, okay, first I can see my goals. And again, I can see this quite nice. I think goals is fine because you can see all your goals that are currently ongoing. But I would always just make sure I only see the ones in progress because those are the ones that matter to me on a day-to-day basis, right? I don't care about anything else because I don't want to have to worry about anything else. I only want to see what's my goal specifically. So for here, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hide the database name because we don't need it. We already know exactly what we're going to be talking about here for each quarter, and then we can go ahead and also remove the name here. Perfect. And then we can add, for example, knowledge, family, health into these things as well, just to show in examples. Okay, next is key results. How we're going to improve key results, because I think key results is really important. Well, key results in focus, what I realized was it isn't the best way to showcase this information, not even close. So what I want to do is I want to duplicate this so that I can have a copy just in case I do something wrong and I have the original to revert back to. And then I'm going to use something called timeline. I've always tried to figure out how to use timeline effectively in Notion. I think with this update, I finally figured out the best way to use it. So I'm very happy to show you guys exactly the way I'm going to use it for you guys to see. So first of all, I want to see what dates I'm going to apply this on. So what we can do is we're going to show, I believe, timeline by due date, DO date, right? And then what we're going to do is I'm going to show you, for example, I might have some key results, right? That I'm going to move the dates closer to what we have here. So I want to move the dates closer to today, and we're going to say an end date is by this date. And then for this one as well, I'm going to do a due date of a bit closer to today, maybe like in the tomorrow or something, and then I have an end date. And then the same thing for this one, I'm going to make sure that I have a due date for closer to here. And then we can see that we have here key results, we have it like this. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to show you how I'm going to maximize the properties I'm going to see. So the first thing is I'm going to do downstream as well. Okay, let's do details. I want to show details, and then I want to show downstream if there's anything there. Actually, I want to show downstream progress. So let's show that downstream progress, and we can remove that downstream so we can see how far ahead we are to do the thing, right? And then I'm going to add one more property, which is focus. I want focus to be shown. So focus is going to be right here. So focus is going to be shown right here. And then if I check focus and I uncheck, then I can actually see things pop up and go away. So then this was a story request and this becomes a story request if I uncheck it. So you can see that based on what's upstream, I can see what's a story request or not. But I'm not even done, right? Because I want to make it so that the project that I need to focus on actually only pops up if I have that key result that I need to work on. So what I'm going to call this one is key results for the week. Okay, and I can also make sure that I see this bi-weekly basis so I can see more information. I don't need to see anything before or after the week, so that's perfect. So what we're going to do here is that we're going to have our view here, right? By the way, I always want to remove the database title because I think it looks much better like that. I'm going to remove the database title here as well, just like that. And then what we can do now is we can see that, for example, now that we know the key results for the week, I want that decision that I've made, that action that I take, to also affect the projects in which I have to focus on so that it's very clear what I have to work on, what I don't have to work on. So the way to accomplish that, right, will be that I have, and actually I like using this view better because this view is more clean. I can have this as a subgroup or group by. Instead of group by focus, I want to group by upstream focus. So let's show you how that would be. So upstream focus, just like that. So that now what happens is, for example, if I uncheck this as a focus, then that actually disappears from the focus list. So the way that that would look like for me is that if I had this hidden, right? So I don't need to see all my projects at all, but I can say, for example, I just need to say projects. I don't even need projects in focus anymore because this view already does everything for me. And then I'm going to remove this database title. So let me show you how this looks. So let's say I decide that today I will not have the chance to work for 25 push-ups in a row. Therefore, I shouldn't work on any underlying projects because I'm not going to be able to achieve what I want to achieve for today anyway, and I have other things I want to focus on. That's perfect. That's not a problem. If I click on this, immediately that disappears from my list and I don't need to focus on it anymore because it can communicate to me that that's not something in my priority for today. There's no outcome I need to accomplish today. And I think that's something that is very, very clear and very, very useful to know when I'm working on the system. And sorry for there's a bit of noise in the background. There's some someone cutting grass. If it gets too annoying, let me know. But yeah, so that's one way we can use that kind of feature to see up and down, right? But on top of that, now we start thinking about like, well, what needs to be combined and what doesn't need to be combined. And the way I always think about it is as follows. If I want to see both information at one time, I don't want them in the same view. I want to see my key results and I also want to see my projects at the same time. So they should not be a different database. So I'm going to close my window. Perfect. Okay, so the idea is that I want to have different views, like physical views, located in different places because I know that I want to see them at the same time. But for things I do know that they don't need to be shown at the same time, for example, my personal inbox together with recurring tasks, let's show you how to connect both of them, right? So you can see we have personal inbox here, right, which is the view that we had earlier. It's edited in 7 other pages, which is really cool. And then what I can do is I can add a new view that shows me the source of recurring tasks as an example, right? And then what I can do is I can copy the exact same. So right now, okay, so let me speak to what I wish Notion would do, and we're trying to get them to do right now. We're currently in talks with them. Is I wish I can immediately copy this view into this view at the same time. At the moment, you can't do that. So that's a bit frustrating. So I have to specifically go and say, okay, well, what filters do I need to put down? Is it the day of a weekend? Is it the today check and all those kind of things? And let me just show you how that works. So I'm going to take a look at this view here. I'm going to see, okay, today contains this thing and frequency contains weekly. That's what I want to do. So then I'm going to go ahead and say, okay, well, I have a filter if today check is a check, right? And then we have also another filter, add a filter for day of the week. Oops, not day of the week. Let's go ahead and remove filter. So, and one more is going to be for my frequency, let's say weekly. Then I can see this information. I save for everyone. And then later on, when I want to see things from a month, I just need to put monthly there, right? And I can put quarterly. And this allows me to easily see the things I have to work on at any given moment. So I think that's really, really cool. And again, I'm going to take away the show database title, just like that. And I'm going to rename this to be recurring tasks. Because I'm not going to check on my recurring tasks as well as my personal inbox at the same time. Therefore, they can both live within the same database for me. I think that's really, really cool. Another thing that this can really improve the experience of, and I think that's something that I want to show you guys, is when you have multiple things that you need to, manage at one time within one database. So for example, let's say I really wanted to connect both my my leaderboard and my gamification tags and my badges in one place, because I want to make sure that I have all that information showcased at one time. So what will happen is, for example, in my leaderboard here, right? So I have my leaderboard and all that stuff, and now, right now I'm just going to copy this view because I want to show you guys how it might work without editing too much of anything else. So let me go ahead in here and just make sure I'm copying specifically this. There we go. And then I'm going to go ahead and just paste this view right here. Okay, so I have a view, right? This is a brand new view. If I want to show leaderboard, right, which is the leaderboard of all the players currently in my workspace, so I have player 1, 2, 3. And then I also want to show, for example, a view of my, let's say I go add a view. I want to show a view of my, let's say I want to show a view of my, yeah, let's do badges, or let's do gamification tags rather. So what I want to do is I want to go ahead and gamification tags, right? And I want to go ahead and copy one of the views here. So I believe I just need to have that open. And then what I can do here is it will pick up that I have that open as well, and it will make it so that that's a recent database that I've been on, and I can go ahead and use that. So let's go ahead and go to my leaderboard. And then I have here, I'm going to add a view. This one is going to source from that gamification tags. And you can see, I can see instantly my gamification tags in here as well. So it makes it really easy for you to create like centralized dashboards that are going to give you a chance to edit everything that you need to edit in the specific page without having to switch to any other views or have like multiple toggles hiding things here and there. Because if you already know that this is something that you're not going to see at the same time, you just want to test things, then this is something that's really, really helpful for you to manage that experience. I think I'm going to do one more example for you so that you can see and I can illustrate this, and then we'll keep this live stream a bit short. Again, if you have any questions, just feel free to ask. So one more example I want to show you will be specifically for the, let's go ahead and show you for the dashboards, for the gamification dashboards. So I'm going to go ahead and go to my daily drivers, gamify your life, my fantasy world. Actually, it's my Fantasy World Plus so that we can edit the more complicated one first. So you can see here we have a lot of really cool views, right? We have practical, we have visual, we have practical all players, visual. That's in your leaderboard. Our pets can now definitely be shown in our leaderboard now, right? Because we don't need to have them on a separate page. I can show them in my leaderboard, and I think that'll be really, really nice. So we can go ahead and just stick that in there. Our party members can also probably stick into our leaderboards if we want to. But again, it's really up to you depending on how you want to combine everything together. You can see that we have our daily habits here. That's fine. Our energy. I think our energy and our daily habits could potentially come together. But again, I really like this section because it gives us a chance to see everything really cleanly. So I'm not too sad about that. Areas and goals. So for sure, I would like our areas to also be here because we don't have areas displayed in this dashboard. So if you're someone who likes using the My Fantasy World dashboard, definitely put in the areas of competence database, which is included in null control in here as well as a way to connect everything. Key results and projects. Again, these are things I'd like to see at the same time, so I wouldn't disagree with having them separate. So again, it's really a case-by-case basis, right? Today's quest is when you hand them in, and that's fine as well. Achievement log, I think that's pretty okay. Okay, perfect. You see that in here, achievement log, because we've edited this inside a sync block, we can actually see that we have this recent wins today, as well as our table for weekly review. So I think that's really, really nice because we're able to then see all this information across everywhere that we need to see. And then we can definitely add badges there as well. So I think that's really cool. You can definitely include your badges together with your achievement log. And I think that is going to be a really cool way of connecting everything inside your workspace. And for item shop, I think this is useful to show everything because you can item purchased based on what your item shop has inside your stock. So I think that's really, really nice. And of course, library, we can do something like what I showed you before, research plus knowledge plus anything else that you might be writing down as well. Very cool. So I think that was a quick crash course really of how to go about and use the better databases inside the dashboards that you're currently using. Again, just to recap, it's really convenient for you to be able to see all your views in one go, be able to connect different databases so that you can have one view, one space, right, to see different databases of information, hopefully to solve one specific problem in your life, right, to tackle one challenge to make it life better. And then finally, you know that there are going to be improvements coming up because we're actively talking to Notion to see how we can improve this experience, because I think we could use some work here. I think there could be more to be done. But so far, I love the idea that I can have one dashboard. I can share this with everybody else and they can see what they need to see. So aside from that, thank you so much for watching. Hope this was helpful for you. Everybody who is currently subscribed to us will expect to have the new version of the templates with a ton of new upgrades. I'm gonna talk about that next week. By next week. So definitely stay tuned. By early April, you'll be able to catch everything that we've been sharing in the last few months. So stay tuned. Please take care. Have a wonderful day. Please have a great start to your weekend, and